Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north. We're in the greenhouse today on a very windy day. It's freezing outside, but the sun's out. So I've come into the greenhouse this afternoon to do a job that I've been putting off for a couple of weeks. I'm going to pot up my Dahlia tubers for this year and hopefully tell you a little bit about them while we're doing it. Let's get started. Okay, so ta-da! 2 potted dahlias. So, what happened? Did you miss it? You must have blinked. Did you go out for a cup of tea? Well, actually, no, fool as I am, I forgot to press play, and I've done the whole thing, chatted away merrily for about 20 minutes, and realised that I've not pressed the record. So, we have 2 already potted dahlias, so you've not missed much. So let's quickly just go over what I've done, just so that I've not wasted my time and your time. So basically, they are in John Innes number 2. John Innes number 1 is for seeds and for cuttings. John Innes number 2 is for anything that goes in a pot, so it has some nutrients in there. John Innes number 3 tends to be for something that you put around shrubs out on in the outside on your borders. So John Innes number 2 is the recommended media for these to go in. You make sure they've got some drainage in the bottom. They like plenty of drainage, and these little stalks here are from last year, so I've just left enough for that to poke through. Same on this side, there's the stalk over there from last year. There were some growths on both of them. They started about a month ago and I just didn't water them or anything. I just left them because I really wanted to hold off, because these can only go outside because they're tender. They might be perennials, but they're tender and they will be killed if the frost gets at them. So they can only go out, certainly in the north of England, they can only go out once the frost is definitely over, which will be at the end of May, unfortunately. Depending on where you live, that'll vary. So what can I tell you about dahlias, or as they should really be known as dahlias, because they are named after a guy called Andreas Dahl, D-A-H-L, like Roald Dahl. And they were discovered in the 16th century in Mexico, growing on a hillside. And believe it or not, Andreas Dahl would have actually known them as edible vegetable. I wouldn't fancy eating them now, but obviously they've been hybridised quite a lot. There are 30 species in the wild, but over 20,000 cultivars. And obviously when people realised that they probably tasted revolting, but the flowers looked quite pretty, they decided that they were going to hybridise them, and they were quite easy to hybridise, and we ended up with lots and lots of big blousy dahlias that flop. And these will flop, these two are no ID dahlias, but they do have quite, they grow about 2-3 feet tall, and they do have quite big flowers which will need staking. The reason that there's grit on the top here is because we have the American grey squirrel running rampant around our country, and that will dig up anything that looks like a bit of bare soil. It doesn't matter what time of the year, because they get the nuts from people who feed the birds. So anything like that, I've found that stick a little bit of grit on top, whether it's horticultural grit or whether it's stones or slate or anything, puts them off straight away. They won't even bother with that. Soon they'll take one look at it, they won't bother. So it's a good little tip that for if you're plagued by squirrels. You can use multi-purpose compost as well as John Innes. They recommend for you not to use a peat-based compost. What else? Don't bury them yet. We've not buried them. We've left a little bit poking through. I'm going to water these once now, and then I'm going to leave them in the greenhouse. They could go on a windowsill or in a conservatory, but the important thing is keep them frost-free. I'm going to leave them in the greenhouse because my greenhouse is obviously frost-free. I'll put them in the cool side. They already had shoots on, so one little water and they will soon start to poke through, but they'll have to stay here until all the frost has passed. You could pot them up. I mean, it's mid-March now. I wouldn't recommend leaving them much longer, but you could pot them up, part way through April as well. Once it's getting into May, you're leaving it a little bit late, really, and they probably still will come, but it might be later on in the season. They will need support. They're going to need some stakes in there. I think I've already mentioned that. So that's it. There's a quick version of it. So that's my dahlias. So please leave a comment. I'll be very interested to know. I'll tell you what I am actually interested in. If anybody lives in a place that doesn't get frost, what are your dahlias like? I presume you don't lift them. So, what do they grow into shrubs? It'll be interesting to see whether they do. Or do you cut them down to the ground? Do they have a dormant period, or do they just keep growing and growing all year round? So perhaps any of our Florida friends can tell us about that, or anybody who lives in one of those tropical regions which I can only dream of living in. So yeah, that's it for now, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. I'm sorry you missed it, missed the best bits, but at least you've had a contracted version of it. Hope I didn't talk too quickly, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.